This is the DallasCowboys.com Draft Show. Your war room for insider news and draft analysis from deep within the confines of Cowboys headquarters at the Star in Frisco. And now, your host, Kyle Yeomans.
Today is Thursday, April 10th, 2025, and we are 2 weeks out, 14 days away from the NFL Draft in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Welcome into the Draft Show presented by Miller Lite, the only beer of the Dallas Cowboys. We have Zach Wolchuk, Brian Broaddus, Foch Lombardi with Chris Beam in the back. I'm Kyle Yeomans. 2 weeks out, this is when things start getting really real. You start taking your final notes. Teams are getting together. They're looking at their boards, Brian. Nerve-wracking time of year because now it's lying season even more so. You start seeing all those mock drafts and all the different craziness that could possibly ensue. When you're 2 weeks out, what are we thinking is happening across the hallway?
You're just ready to get this damn thing over with.
Get it done.
At this point in time. I mean, no, and I say that with tongue in cheek. To me, this is where, maybe there's some positions that you're really, really not totally comfortable with that you've gone through. And, there's a lot of positions that you can say, okay, it's A, B, C, and D. Yeah. And there's some positions on this board right now that there's probably going to be a little bit more conversations, probably a little bit more discussion, probably a little bit more disagreement. Probably a little bit more if, you're the general manager, director of player personnel, you're going to say, are you really sure about that? And as you start to compare, now you'll start to get the coaches involved here. And that can make things either really smooth or really confusing. And so, we've heard from Brian Schottenheimer that he's really interested in the scouts doing their job and the coaches doing their job. If that's the case, then a lot of discussions will come down. Yeah, you want your opinion of your coaches and stuff like that, but you don't want them to muddy the situations here. A lot of these guys have not been in the NFL, and so they know what the NFL, what it's all about. But you have to know about a level of player. You have to know who the Giants are playing with, what the Eagles are playing with the Commanders are playing with. So scouts doing their job, but there's still some discussions. We get down to that final week, it's going to be more about talking about mock drafts and potentially the pitfalls or the abilities to go up or to go back, and you can make those determinations. But right now, there's still some discussions about some positions that are pretty kind of muddy. When you look at cornerback, wide receiver, I think a little bit, and then maybe even the defensive tackle group, I think, is a little bit of a muddy position for some teams right now.
Yeah.
You know what, Brian? You just said something that made me think about something. And, boy, I hope this is on topic because, boy, the chat hate when I get off topic. But
get off topic.
I'm sorry. But this made me think about the draft last year, right?
Yeah.
We clearly, running back was on the table.
Yep.
But running back kept getting pushed back.
Sure did.
And what they came out and said to us was we got to a point in the draft to where the running back that we could have got wasn't better than Rico.
He's not here any longer, so you can throw that out the window.
Sure.
Yeah.
So what I'm wondering now with this board, and maybe we'll do it next week or the next show, whatever.
Sure.
I wonder what point in the draft at each of these unit groups are we going, oh, we don't have to take Mitchell Evans, the center, because we got such and such at home.
Yeah.
Like what round do we not look at guys anymore?
Yeah, are you cutting that off? Like, what's the furthest that can stretch for you?
So I was having a conversation. If we're looking at wide receiver, and wide receiver is an emergency, we would all say.
Right.
I'm really not looking past round 2 for real. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm trying to get one of those first round guys, maybe Best Royals, Manure. I'm looking at those guys, but man, when I get down to like Kobe Hudson or something, right?
Yeah.
Man, I kind of got, let's, Flournoy is here, so maybe we can try to develop him as opposed to going that route. So I wonder, maybe one day we'll just map out, like not do a mock draft, but map out a mock draft.
Yeah.
Where do we stop looking at receivers? Where do we start looking at offensive tackles? Where do we stop looking at running backs? I think that'll be interesting to look at.
I do want to do that with a little bit of studying because I want everybody to kind of bring in their own specific topic of like, okay, I've gotten it to the 3rd round before.
Sure.
Right? I've gotten it to the 4th round in this position, whereas the other one I may not even look outside of the 1st. If it's a specific position in the 1st round, I'm not looking at it.
Because 3rd round safety and down is nonsense, but 5th round corner is fine. 5th round running back is fine.
Totally fine.
4th, 5th round, edge is cool to me. fourth round wide receiver, I may not be the biggest fan of. So I think that'll be, something interesting to, maybe hear what they got to say about it. They won't tell us, but, just, us as draft show guys, we can probably talk about it.
Well, it could be a good question like day 3 when we get the scouts and the coaches in here. When do you look at that? I mean, I'm always for a strength can still be a strength, right? If you have a player that's graded really high, why not just take him?
Yeah.
I mean, did they have a need when they took CeeDee Lamb 17 overall a few years ago at wide receiver? You still had Gallup at the time. You still had Amari Cooper at the time. But then they did end up really needing CeeDee Lamb because you move on from Amari Cooper, and then he ends up being your wide receiver 1.
Yeah.
So to me, it's just you got to trust the process. You got to trust your board. And even if you're not seeing like, man, I got a blinking light, I feel good about safety. If an Andrew Makuba's there in round 2, you feel like he can be an improvement for you, go ahead and take that guy. I think that's how you are able to be a consistently good drafting team.
And then we could just make this recent news part. I'll touch you again. My bad. Recent news, right? So now we have this guard room of Hoffman and Bass and Charles is here now.
Yeah.
So I think we all agree, like Tyler Booker, Donovan Jackson kind of sweeps all that, and some of those guys are gonna have to go. But if we get down to round 4 or 5, and Luke Kandra is there, we got a lot of those guards here already. So let's
Hell of a name. I like that name, Paul.
Cincinnati. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, so maybe we wouldn't look at those guys because we got a room full of guards now. Somebody say, yo, Vash, we got 12 offensive linemen on the roster right now. I say, damn. How many of these guys can push some of those guys off? How many of those guys wouldn't even matter to the guys we have on the roster?
Yeah, because, is Sadiq Charles going to necessarily make the roster?
Who knows?
Right? Like, these are competitive bodies.
Yeah, I think with the thing with Charles, you got to look at him. And I know Vach and I had this conversation last night on our podcast, was that I think Charles is brought in here to make sure that Joe Milton has the ability to stand up upright on preseason games.
That's a great point.
You don't want to. You do not want to have him. You do not want to evaluate a position, especially quarterback, where your guy is no disrespect to Isaac Alarcon or anybody like that.
Sure.
But when you've got a guy out there struggling his ass off to try and block a guy who's a down the line 6th or 7th round edge or a tackle or something like that, and your quarterback is getting sacked every play, or you can't get plays off, you can't evaluate your players. So this is a guy to me that is a veteran player who's made starts. We'll see. Hopefully you hit something here. But he is really to play preseason games in the second half and been able to keep your quarterback upright so you can evaluate him.
There was an expectation before he retired in the middle of training camp last year that he would be the starting right tackle for Tennessee. I mean, there was a thought that he would be the starting right tackle. So I don't want to write him off entirely.
No, he's still just 25 years old.
Make the team. He's been in the league since 2020, spent the 35 games or so with Washington. He's played decent football, but he's going to have to earn that spot. And it goes back to what Vach is saying is what point do you look at offensive line and you say, man, you know what? We've already got Sadiq Charles here. We've already got some guys here that we feel comfortable with. But, hey, if Will Campbell falls or if something else happens in the second round, one of these other offensive linemen that you could particularly like, even though it might not be the number one need at that point in time, it's still enough to say, hey, maybe this is something we can kind of build some depth around and try and work it. So I do like the conversation. Let's do it on your next show. Let's get deeper into that and kind of map out where we would stop in certain positions because we feel comfortable one way or the other. But kind of along the same lines, you have to look elsewhere too. You got to self-scout yourself and what you're doing in your scouting department, but you also got to see what other teams are doing as well. I kind of want to take a look around the NFL for a little bit in this first segment. What are some of these other teams going to do, not only just in the first round, but throughout the draft, Zach, as we look at maybe some of these teams that have some set-in-stone picks in the first round, but may not be your best friend when you're picking at 40 and 70 and some of these other spots in front of you that could possibly take some of your talent.
Yeah, San Francisco right in front of you can be concerning in a couple of areas. Kyle Shanahan this week gave a positive update on Christian McCaffrey, but then also said they're always looking to draft running back. So that's a team you got to kind of watch out for. Now, they took Isaac Guerrero, who was a draft show darling a year ago out of Louisville in the 4th round, but that's another team there. When you look at some of these running backs, you don't take one at 12, at 44, right in front of you. Is San Francisco also going to be looking at a Caleb Johnson? If Marion Hampton sounds like he's probably not going to make it the closer we get to the draft now, I wouldn't be surprised if 3 running backs ended up going in the first round. I think Travion Henderson is a guy, and I preached this probably 2 months ago, that I think could creep into the first round as well. So San Francisco is a team, 2nd round, 3rd round. If you wait on the running backs, you got to look at them right in front of you there. Chicago could be another team like that. I also think I've heard San Francisco could be looking at defensive line. Walter Nolan's a player that they might have their eye on as early as the first round. They're right in front of you. There's been some whispers in this building. There's a lot of love for Walter Nolan. Is that a player that they'd be considering? So when you look at some defensive linemen, I think running back, that team right in front of you in the 49ers could be a team to watch out for that could end up maybe picking some of your guys right before you're on the clock.
And they're kind of in a similar situation, though, right, Brian?
Yeah.
I mean, when you look at it,
yeah.
cap and talent and having to get rid of your top guys.
I'd keep an eye on the Chicago Bears, especially in the second round. If they miss out on Ashton Genty, there's talk about them going and getting a running back in the second round. Caleb Johnson is a name that I've heard quite prevalent there with the Bears. So if you're a team that's sitting there like Dallas at 44 and you're thinking running back, might be the last running back that you really, really, really like. And then I'm talking about, and when we break down tiers, we'll get into that. I got the very goods and the goods. The very goods are in the second round. The goods are in the third round. You know, so if you want to sit there and have to go from very good at 44 to dipping into good, that might be the Chicago Bears with Caleb Johnson, a possibility, or a running back, whatever running back is available. I'd keep an eye on the Bears right ahead of you at 44.
And they have 2 picks there. They have one at 39 and they have one at 41. So they're right in front of you twice. If they don't get Genty or I don't see them taking Hampton at 10, but wherever they end up being, 39 and 41, that could be a 1-2 punch where you're not feeling great.
They could use that to trade back into the back end of the first round if they want to. I mean, Travion Henderson, could that be a Jahmyr Gibbs-like asset for a guy like Ben Johnson who took him early in Detroit?
Yeah, I think they're holding on Genty, and depending on what happens with the Raiders ahead of them, could be a possibility. The Denver Broncos are a team actually behind you. I'm just thinking about running backs potentially in the second round. The Denver Broncos are a team that could come up from behind you. We've talked about San Francisco. San Francisco is a wild card in this thing because San Francisco is not afraid to trade, to move, to get out. They need picks. They need players. They're trying to rebuild their team. I'd be really, really conscious of teams ahead of you that are willing to move. And like I say, the Broncos could be with Sean Payton. We've seen him make big swings to get up a board. And if he knows you're sitting on a running back at 44, here's my running back speech, because I kind of feel like you're looking at maybe a wide receiver at 12. If you're going to sit there in Dallas's war room and you're going to hold on a running back at 44, there's teams ahead of you when there's a team behind you that could certainly know what your game plan is. And Dallas has been jumped before in these drafts, and lost players that way. So Denver's another team. Bears ahead, Denver behind. Be aware of those teams.
And they've been jumped by division teams. Another one that I think is a wild card is New Orleans. And now New Orleans has a lot of familiarity with kind of what you like.
Who's their head coach?
Right, Kellen Moore, Doug Nussmeier's their offensive coordinator, and New Orleans basically needs everything. They could go in any direction. They might go quarterback there at 9, but if they don't, I mean, are they looking at a corner? Are they looking at an edge? Could they go offensive line? That's another team that kind of has an idea of maybe what you would be looking for based on having familiarity, and they're picking a couple spots ahead of you in every round as well.
Run on running back is what you're looking for, and y'all basically said it perfectly, so I won't, add there. But I will say this, that's like the negative of what could happen with the teams around you.
Yeah.
I think the positive that we should be, that we could be mentioning there is like more quarterbacks are just rumoredly, so hey, bump a guy down, if you will. I don't know who the hell said it, but they was like, hey, Jalen Milroe said, yes, I would be in Green Bay.
Yeah.
So
I think that was Dane Brugler.
Sure, yeah, Dane said, yeah. So he's not going to hang around to pick 44 in Green Bay to be there live. So we can only imagine he's going to be a first-round guy. So if we're looking at pick 44, all those guys that's in that 20 range that we like, they could end up there for us, So that's a positive thing that could happen.
That would be best-case scenario. I remember Malik Davis, not Malik Davis, Malik Willis. The Liberty
went to the Titans.
Yeah, he was
third round
there for that day, draft. He was in the building. Yeah. It wasn't at Radio City at that point, but wherever that draft was, and he ended up going in the third round and was watching the rest of it at
Fire
home.
your agent, dog. You sit around.
Happened to Will Levis, too, a couple of years ago. And
he went early second, though.
He went early second. He did, but thought he was going to go in the first round.
Yeah.
Thought maybe he could be a top 10 pick, and that could help you if these running backs do go, let's say, or if these quarterbacks go. Let's say Tennessee takes one, maybe Shador slides to New Orleans, Jackson Dart, are the Jets in the business there at 7. All of a sudden, if you have 3 quarterbacks that go before you're on the clock there at 12.
Yeah.
Does a team like Pittsburgh get a little antsy? One of these other teams that maybe they like a Milroe, does that help your case if you're looking to trade back? Now all of a sudden maybe the phone can ring and you can go ahead and maximize that opportunity.
I kind of feel like that Sanders is going to end up with the Saints at 9 is where I think. I think Dart's the next pick. I think Pittsburgh is becoming comfortable with Dart.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know about them. I think Pittsburgh's going to sit and wait on that one is where I would go. Let me try and sell you guys on another idea at 44. How interested are you in a corner?
I'm interested.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very interested.
How interested are you in Ravel, the corner from
I'm very
Carolina?
interested.
I would
Okay,
make it work.
like first round. I know I have him as a first round grade.
He would be great.
Dr. Cooper did the surgery here. Cowboys are going to have some information on this guy.
Yeah.
If you're holding on him, say potentially at 44 because you think it's a Blue Star special Cowboy injury thing, watch the Raiders right ahead of you there because the Raiders, they were 32nd in pass in pass defense last year. They're going to add corners. You know, there's going to be some guys that you're going to try and wait on. I don't think you can. I mean, like I say, he would be ideal for me. And, you know, because that would be a first-round corner off my board. And the Cowboys did bring this guy in for a 30 visit.
Yep.
I think that's the one team you got to navigate. Just kind of hearing that, listen, we're looking at him pretty strong. And so at 30, with their 32nd ranked pass defense, if you're sitting on him, be ready that you might not get your guy there. If that's the case, you might need to look at one of these other corners.
They just released a corner too.
Yeah.
So that's a good point.
I'm glad you brought up Las Vegas because I have another wild card team and it affects Las Vegas specifically. If we had to guess right now, all four of us sitting here on this table, who would go and pick Ashton Jeanty in the top 10, who would your guess be?
Vegas.
They'd be the Vegas Raiders, right?
Yeah,
Vegas Raiders.
Better be Vegas.
There's a little bit of noise that Jacksonville could take him at 5.
I don't hate it.
Yeah, no,
There's a thought process that they like him a lot. They haven't reported a single 30 visit. But
New England should take him. Like all those guys
all
should
those
take
guys
him.
should take him. So Jeanty could be off the board for Vegas at 6.
Yeah.
So let me ask you that question. You talked about corner in the second round for them at 37. Could you turn around and say, okay, Vegas is on the board. They didn't get their guy in the first round because Jacksonville snuck under their nose, took him at 5. Could that be another team to circle and say, they may take a running back from right in front of you at 44?
Oh, sure.
Same kind of thing, right?
No, absolutely.
Like if they were to go Will Johnson out of Michigan or Jahdae Barron out of Texas.
Could grab a guy. They may trade back at that point. You know?
But we've been doing this since January. Jeanty was never going to get to Dallas at 12. No. If you watch this draft and you really see, he's one of the top 3 players in this draft.
Why would he fall to 12? Why would he?
I mean, people are like,
Position value.
Jeanty.
That's
You
what
kept
people were
mocking,
saying.
You kept mocking, and I'm like, guys, gals,
It's not
one of the top 3 players in this draft, regardless of position. You can sit there and fight me all you want about running back, positional value, and all that crap. The idea is to take the best player in the draft. That's the idea. And when you start to talk about Hunter, Carter, Jeanty, those are some of the 3 best players in the draft. Yeah. He was never going to get to you at 12. We should not be surprised that all of a sudden, you know, I mean, everybody's like, gosh, well, Jeanty, when you're one of the best players in this draft, and it doesn't surprise me that New England's talking about him at 4, that Jacksonville's talking about him at 5. That's where he should damn be picked.
Yeah.
Yep.
Regardless of the position, he's one of the best players in this draft. He was never going to get to you at 12. It was a pipe dream. You know, everybody's, mock him. No. Media scouts finally caught up to one of the best players in the draft.
Yeah.
When you sat down and studied everything and you started talking to all your buddies, your guys and gal friends around the league, they tell you, man, this Jeanty is a hell of a player. I don't think we've seen one like him in a while.
And then, Brian, honestly, man, teams suck at draft, and I get this.
Yeah. You should make a T-shirt of that.
I will.
I'm shocked you haven't already.
NFL's
actually.
a strange lady and teams suck at draft.
Teams suck at draft.
Yeah.
McMillan shouldn't be in the conversation at 12.
Oh,
No, I agree. I think McMillan.
He should be gone.
He's a top 5 player for me.
How come all of us can just but this T-Mac kid, boy, it's a top, whatever guy to me. But
And then
then
some
when we
people
hear
are putting them in the 20s.
when we hear media guys come out, I think he'll be perfect for the Ravens. Like the Ravens, where the Ravens trading up to go get him? I'm like, I'm not buying this new noise that Golden, McMillan, and Burden. They're just not talented enough to be top 10 guys or top 12 guys. My board, Vash Lombardi's board, I'm keeping them first round talents. I'm taking them 6th overall, just 6th best guy on my board.
Sure.
I'm not finna lean into this new, Hampton is going to go 12, but McMillan's going to go 19? Please, Mel.
I ran into Barry Church on the way back down here. On the way down to the studio, I ran into Barry. He just finished up on Players Lounge. He stopped me. He goes, I got a question for you. He said, Ted McMillan's not going to be there at 12, right?
He shouldn't be.
And this is a guy who spent his days and made a living trying to slow down guys like Ted McMillan.
Yep.
And he's like, there's no way he's going to be there at 12, right? No. Well, that's the thought process, right?
Yeah.
Is that some people, the media side of things, are saying, man, this is going to be a guy that's going to slip a little bit. And we showed a scenario where he could slip in our mock draft. I just don't see him even getting to that point.
If Genty goes to the Jags or whatever, right, and you're Vegas, man, why would you not give Geno somebody to throw the ball to with Bowers and make this young pass-catching core? Like, why would you not? Like, why would you look and go, no, we're going to go with the edge that people got questions about or the corner that people got questions about?
The injured corner.
The injured corner. I'm not buying this new nonsense. So, Cowboy fans, get ready. If common sense prevails, T-Mac shouldn't be there. So you better watch some Golden film and get rid of him just in case.
And Matthew Golden here in the building today. The reports were that
I better not shake his hand.
that he's been here. But I do think that the stuff with McMillan is real. I think it is.
I need
possible.
your Dak scouting report here at the end of the day.
I think it is possible McMillan's there. I think also, do some teams look at Tyler Warren and say they think he's the best pass catcher for them?
I think that's nonsense. Two people looking at Warren over McMillan, but I ain't gonna say nothing else. Go ahead.
I love Tyler Warren.
love him too.
I've got McMillan as my fourth best player, but I got Tyler Warren as my seventh.
Okay.
I'm not here for the Tyler Warren slander.
I'm not slandering him, but like if you had to pick one of the two,
I'd take McMillan.
You go pick the wide receiver.
But I could see teams with the impact and the mismatch problems that tight ends have, and you just saw the Brock Bowers, blowing up everything last year as a rookie. I could see some teams falling in love with Tyler Warren as well.
I don't know if Brock Bowers is the exception, not the rule type of thing.
I think Warren's.
I don't know. I like Warren a lot. He's still my top tight end, but I'm not sitting here saying he's going to be Brock Bowers and put that type of expectation on.
Is he Kyle Pitts or is he Brock Bowers? Which one is he? Which one is he?
See, and I liked Kyle
I think
Pitts
he's different.
He's hockey.
His play style is so different than both. I'd lean more Brock Bowers than Kyle Pitts.
All right, I like what you just did.
Yeah.
Who did you have rated higher though?
I had both those guys higher than that. Man. I feel like that I made a mistake on Pitts, but you watch him play at Florida. That he was doing things that down the seam, catching balls behind him, over his head, all that stuff like that. He just has not developed into what I thought he would. But that Brock Bowers has made me a real scout again.
Ask every fantasy football owner ever. Everybody's made a mistake on Kyle Pitts once or twice.
Ward's a really good player, though. I wouldn't take him in the top 10 myself. But I appreciate you standing on the table for me.
But I say this though, you want a good laugh, like a good pin throw. We just hating on mocks. Don't mess around and let Coastal Loveland go like 14 or something. But I'm going to get a good laugh about the better players bumping down the board for us when they take Coastal Loveland too high. I saw him in the mock. He was going like 11 or something. I'm like, well, y'all, that's gross.
You're overthinking that. Just take Mason Taylor and move.
I don't think. No, Brian.
No.
Brian, listen to me. No, Brian, listen.
I'm not
Brian,
saying
I get
you.
it. Brian, listen. I get it. Brian, I love mock drafts like that.
Yeah.
You know why?
Yeah.
Because teams suck at drafting.
Yeah.
I hate a perfect mock draft where all the picks are perfect.
Yeah.
Goofy picks in mock drafts make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Because one day we're going to wake up and go, what you mean Cole Strange win the first round?
Yeah.
That's real talk.
Yeah.
Cleveland Farrell at 4?
You'll get a rando.
Teams suck. They're going to take Coastal Loveland, and we're going to have a good laugh, Woolchuck.
That's why Mike.
I'd love it. He's going to push another good player.
Let him bump down the board. I'll take it.
That's why Mike Mayock's working for Westwood One Radio now.
Shouts out to Mike Mayock. Sorry, Kyle. I don't mean to scream on your show while you're trying to direct.
Sideswiping people.
Yeah, let's not give Westwood One a bad rep here. They do.
Who's
a great
that?
job.
Oh, I love Westwood One. I'm just saying that Mike Mayock is working for Westwood One right now. He's not being a general manager.
Not at a table.
Yeah.
All right, let's take our first break. We've got Twitter on the 20 coming up next with more.
Westwood One's a radio.
We'll talk about it later. We'll talk about it later. More of the draft show right after this.
Got fired. I got you. Okay.
Life is a workout, and Smoothie King is here to help you power through. Whether you're maxing out overhead presses, pushing through chest flies, or being the hero your golden retriever needs to carry them over that scary bridge, Smoothie King has the fuel to help you go all out. Build muscle and boost your recovery with 45 grams of protein, 0 grams of added sugar, and delicious customizable ingredients in the Gladiator Smoothie. Available in chocolate, strawberry, and vanilla. Only at Smoothie King.
Hi, Drew Pearson, former Dallas Cowboy and now Pro Football Hall of Famer here. If you're struggling with your vision and tired of those contacts and glasses, don't throw a Hail Mary. Go where I went. Laser Care Eye Center, the official LASIK partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
Drew, thank you so much for trusting us with your vision correction procedure. At Laser Care Eye Center, we offer 6 different vision correction procedures to help patients see.
Check them out at dfweyes.com. Tell them Drew sent you. Hood hood.
I'm Dak Prescott, quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys.
And they snap it to Prescott, who looks right. It's not there. He escapes left. He'll run for a first down.
Just like football, when it comes to crypto, it's important to have a team you can trust. With blockchain.com, I know I'm in good hands. Since 2011, they've been trusted by millions around the world to buy, sell, and trade cryptocurrency.
Prescott's going to run this himself. Run it up the middle, and he scores.
Whether you're new to crypto or an active trader, they've got you covered. What are you waiting for? Get started at blockchain.com.
Cowboys fans, when it comes to navigating the ever-changing world of tax, your business needs a partner it can trust to tackle even your biggest tax challenges. Ryan is the largest firm in the world dedicated exclusively to business taxes. Our team of tax professionals has local expertise in all areas of tax and can help you uncover savings opportunities you didn't know you had. Learn more about how Ryan can improve your overall corporate tax performance by visiting Ryan.com. Ryan, the official tax partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
This is the DallasCowboys.com Draft Show.
Get excited for the most dazzling DCC experience yet. Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders on tour coming to a theater near you. Witness live performances, enjoy the on-stage Q&A session, and even be a part of a live audition. If you're in Dallas, San Antonio, Austin, Midland, or El Paso, mark your calendar for dates and tickets. Visit DallasCowboysCheerleaders.com/tour. By the way,
That's like a movie or it's like a show.
it's like a show.
like
Disney
theater,
on
they say
Ice.
theater. Something.
Oh,
Disney on Ice kind
it's
of
a
thing.
show, baby.
Like a travel.
Oh, it's going to blow your mind.
Hold on, what's that? Look at the camera. Say it again.
It's a show, baby.
That sounded so creepy.
That
bro.
was weird. Yeah.
Twitter.
You know about that?
Hey, what talk about Kyrie?
Yeah, so join us as we team up with our friends at 105.3 The Fan to talk Cowboys and the draft on Thursday evening, April 17th, 7 p.m. in the Fan Showroom, 4131 North Central Expressway in Dallas. We're taking care of your dinner from Whataburger.
Yeah, baby.
Great stuff. Plus, there will be some great giveaways, including, this is cool, a Dak Prescott signed jersey. No sign up, just come on out. We'd love to meet and talk draft with you. So that one's a little bit more draft show heavy.
I can't wait till somebody asks Voch a question with a mouthful of Whataburger. Hey, Voch, second round.
What do you
I'm a big fan of this
I'm a laugh.
patty melt.
I'm gonna call him out.
Who is the patty melt of this draft?
Who's the patty melt?
Is it spicy with jalapenos? What do we got here?
I'll be like,
sweet
sir,
spicy bacon
sir, what
burger?
that mean?
I feel like, what does Westwood want?
Ask all the right questions, man. It is what it is.
What is
No.
a patty melt?
April 17th. That's next Thursday. So a
Yeah.
week from today. Really excited about that. We're all the entire draft show crew is going to be there. So really excited about it. North Central Expressway, 4131 in Dallas. And it like it said, no sign up.
Yeah.
Come on out. We've done this the last couple of years. It's going to be a blast. So come on out. Bring
And
your
even if
draft
you're a
questions.
fan, not a fan of the Cowboys, and you're
Yeah.
just a fan of the draft, show up. I mean, we'll answer your questions. It ain't just about the Cowboys. I mean, even though we work here for the Cowboys, but we'll answer your draft questions. You're a Lions fan, Buccaneers fan, doesn't matter.
And wear your jersey so we remember who you are.
Yeah, wear your jersey.
We'll do it.
Bring your favorite jersey all the way out.
We'll
all
sign
right.
it for you.
Speaking of fan questions, it's time for some
Twitter on the 20.
That was crisp.
Crisp.
That was
He's
crisp
getting-
from Chris.
He's getting in the draft.
Mid-season form, baby.
Yeah,
We're
he
right there.
is.
We're 2 weeks out. All right. There's been a lot of buzz around a Marion Hampton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Michael wants to know,
Mike?
it's gaining steam in the mainstream for the pick to be at number 12. How likely is that outcome for the Dallas Cowboys that Hampton, the running back from North Carolina, will be the pick at 12?
I don't think so. Just kind of talking to some folks in the organization. I think that's Mel Kiper's. You have to worry about Mel. I mean, if you really, he did hit the Tyler Smith, pick when nobody really thought that Tyler Smith was going to be here. But just kind of talking to various people in the organization, they said, listen, you don't know until the commissioner walks up to the podium and all that and the way the draft goes. But I don't think he'll be the pick at 12 right now. I know that's a lot of steam and a lot of this, that, and the other. And, could it happen? Sure. Could they draft him at 12 and then turn around at 44 and pick a wide receiver? There's all that possibility. But I kind of got the inclination that wasn't going to be the case.
Who the hell is Mel Kiper Jr.?
You know what I'm saying?
Don't say that. He's a legend.
That's hard.
No,
that's an old What was the
Bill Tobin.
Colts? Yeah, Bill Tobin.
Bill Tobin.
Oh yeah.
They'll talk to your sister, your grandmother, your neighbor.
The one thing about Hampton, and we've kind of learned this in the past, is we've talked about Tyler Smith as a second-round possibility. We talked about Mozzie Smith as a second-round possibility, and kind of written them off as, hey, they're interested. The Cowboys like them. We know that. All of that can be said about Marion Hampton. However, those picks were made in the late 20s, whereas this one's at 12. It's a little bit different to have that same kind of mentality. Say, hey, this is a guy that we would love to get at 44, maybe even trade up to go get him in the early parts of the second round. But for him to be at 12 is still a little bit rich for the position value and for the player himself. I think Hampton's a great player, but I think all of us would sit here and say, man, at 12, you felt like you could have filled another need.
Okay, do this real quick for the sake. He's picked at 12. Give me a receiver or your defensive tackle at 44 or corner.
Yeah.
Give me a pair with him.
That's where I would go with like Trey Harris or
Jalen Royals.
Those would
Maybe a Yeomanor.
Did you say corner or D tackle?
You could say
a wide receiver.
Pick a wide receiver, a tackle, or a corner at that. And I'm just interested to see what your pairing would be and how good you feel about Hampton and then who you got at 44.
Yeah, 44. It would be like T.J. Sanders or Walter Nolan. Those are my second round guys that I think would be there. Tyleek Williams, maybe.
Tyleek Williams might be.
That would be probably a thought process.
Yeah,
it would feel pretty good then if you got Hampton and Tyleek Williams then, right?
I'm having a party.
Yeah.
The corners.
Would you have a party?
You would feel better if it was.
I would feel better if it was Ravel.
Yeah, I'd like Ravel. What about Hairston from Kentucky?
Maxwell
Hairston.
Totally down.
Trey Amos from Ole Miss.
Totally down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, if they did take the guy, if they took Hampton at 12, you feel like you could do pretty good there, right? I mean, me personally, I'd love to see a McMillan Ravel combo is what I would love.
Talk about throwing a party.
And if you did it, I feel like the Hampton pick would be just to secure your back.
Yeah.
Because of everything we just talked about in the opening segment.
Very good running backs opposed to the third round being good running backs. How about that?
Yeah.
That's kind of how I'd look at it.
So are we in agreement here kind of across the board that it is likely there's some slice of likely.
I was told it.
But you don't think it'll happen?
I don't think it's going to happen.
I don't think it's going to happen, but you got to make sure whoever you pair him with, is it going to be a wide receiver or is it going to be defensive tackle or corner? Am I right about that, Vashi?
That is correct, but I tell you what, man, this team has proven to me that, boy, I just cannot walk in just thinking anything's going to be a certain kind of way because we'll walk out of day one and day two like, how the hell do we get these three guys?
Yeah.
It happens every single year. And to Kyle's point, we do end up with these guys that may have twos on their grades and we're drafting them at the back of the ones, but this class is different. So how many ones do you have, right? Like, I have 13, but the Cowboys may have 8.
Yeah.
So by the time we're on the clock, if McMillan is gone, like we say, and Genty is gone and Golden is gone because some other team like him and he runs fast, they might be out of ones.
Right.
Yeah.
And now all right, guys, who's our best twos? And Hampton might be one of their best twos.
I don't disagree with you on that. Like I said, I think we'll have to wait. I know just the initial conversation that I had was that no, but you don't know until the thing starts unfolding.
Yeah.
You know where their grades are. They could see these guys completely different from where we're at right now.
I love to have them though.
Hampton's a hell of a player.
Awesome player.
Awesome player.
If we're drafting him at 44, I think all of us would say
that would
whatever happened in the first round.
Tremendous value.
But we wouldn't take him over McMillan, would we?
Not at all.
Or how about even Golden?
Probably not. I haven't stacked my board like that yet, but probably not. I think
Those two are much closer for me.
I would put Golden above him.
But I'd still probably take Golden.
Table, let me ask y'all this. What is running back round 2 wiped out look like for y'all? Like Judkins went 43 or something. Okay. You know what I'm saying? And we're left with RJ Harvey and Sampson. You know what I'm saying? What is round 2 running back wiped out look like?
It's Genty's gone, Johnson's gone, Hampton's gone, and Henderson's are gone.
Yep, that's it for me.
Those are the 4 guys.
Yep.
First 2 rounds.
And I know some people have Hampton over Johnson, which is cool. I mean, but I'll go either way there. But I that would be wiped out for me. That's why I was talking about very good as opposed to good.
Right. Yeah, I think those are the top 4 guys, clearly.
Okay, so is Judkins a guy that you would take at 44 in round 2?
See, I'd love him at 76.
Sure.
Yeah.
But we would love him at 76. That's what I'm saying.
But
he asked you if you take him at 44.
But yes.
Yeah.
I would.
Judkins and RJ Harvey are kind of like that's what you left with, and I don't want to be in that range where, damn boy, all the running backs that we like here are gone. So now we got third round graded guys in round 2. Do they go? All right, we'll just wait to the third round.
Yeah.
Judkins, Harvey, Sampson,
and they're all gone.
SMU kid, and now we at round 3. Like,
well, is that
Scatterbo's there?
Is that
Devin Neal from
12?
Kansas?
So what I'm saying is to keep from getting cute,
you may have to reach.
What if they walk in this thing going, man, look, bro, by any means necessary, we need to improve running back right now.
Yeah.
Miles Sanders might not make the team. Sorry. We need to get a running back, and we don't want to reach.
This is why they would take him at 12.
Yep.
That's why they would take him.
You make a case for that they feel like that their best guy, Genty's off the board, and they don't want to take a chance. They don't want to wait. They don't want to see Sampson and Junkins and Harvey and James from Oregon. They don't want to see that.
Yeah.
They want to, they want to make sure that they get their guy.
3 mock drafts in a row, man. What did he hear?
Yeah.
See, that's
who told him
talking.
But see, and then, you talk to some folks and they say, I don't see that right now. But then they say, but you never know.
Never know.
And that's where the never know scares the hell out of me right now.
Even Daniel Jeremiah came out and said, I'm going to put Matthew Golden right here. But don't be surprised.
Yeah, oh no. Yeah,
Well, hey, I mean, what if things got a little crazy and Genty goes to the Raiders?
Call Dane.
And then at 10, the Bears took Henderson.
Yeah.
Good.
And now all of a sudden there's 2 running backs that have gone in the top 10, and nobody was expecting that. And now you're on the clock at 12, and you're thinking, holy crap, if we don't pull the trigger on O'Marion Hampton here, are we going to get a running back that we feel great about?
Man, we thought it was crazy when Gibbs and Bijan were in the top 12, and then you would get 3 guys going in the top 12 at that point.
Would you guys be comfortable picking Johnson from Iowa at 44?
Yes.
For sure.
Yes.
For sure.
Then we're okay.
Yeah.
We'll be fine.
I think so too.
Because I think he's the one guy that might actually be there.
If he's there.
Yeah. I mean, he has not gotten a lot of buzz.
He's so down.
That's actually perfect.
And I've got him as the number 2 back.
I think either way, we're going to look at our second round pick and feel pretty damn good about it.
You have to.
I think no matter what.
There's a lot of
happens
names
at
at 44
12,
that I think we're going to be really happy about.
We're going to be fine at 44.
Man, Kyle, you say that, boy, but the last 2, Marshawn Nealon, how we get here?
I liked Marshawn Nealon.
I like Nealon. I like him, but I ain't like him in the second.
I thought he was at I had him as my 36th top guy on my board.
You better than me,
I
Kyle.
was feeling pretty good.
I ain't had Twitter on the 20, my bad.
Yeah, Twitter on the 20. Thanks, Foch. The French entry says, I don't know what that means.
French
but
entry.
I feel like that's probably like an innuendo or something. Picking after the 49ers, which Cowboys target is San Francisco most likely to pluck just before they go on the clock? Kind of going along with our conversation in that first segment. McMillan's that guy.
Take a wide receiver. They absolutely can.
McMillan, Mimbo, they can go. Either one of those guys.
Yeah, they could take Banks. They could go corner. They could go Will Johnson out of Michigan. They could. I mean, then maybe Jahdae Barron out of Texas, and then they could do that every single round. Maybe go a guy that you like.
They're going to be a pain in your ass, San Francisco, because of their ability to say, we'll just take our guys and don't have a problem with it, or they'll just say we'll trade out of there. And people, listen. The Dallas Cowboys are probably the most covered team when it comes to the NFL draft.
For sure.
Teams look at the work that's done here. It's not saying it in a bragging way. It's true. It's true. And they look and they say, well, heck, somebody's telling these guys something.
Yeah.
And Dallas is going to look at this and oh, look, their 30 visits got posted. And look, we're talking about their 30 visits. It's terrifying to sit in that room and know all that information is going out. But the Cowboys are okay with that, To me, it would be. But anyway, I just kind of feel like that teams know that they could potentially jump ahead of you with San Francisco and others, because they'll have an idea what Dallas is going to do.
And the local beat is expressing they've got a lot of love for Walter Nolan, the defensive tackle at Ole Miss. Now, for us, we might be fine with that. Go ahead and take Walter Nolan. Maybe some people with the Cowboys will be thinking, ooh, that's our favorite defensive tackle. That would really sting and hurt us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you're saying in front, like San Francisco. They could go anywhere. That's what makes them a true wild card. I mean, I'm looking on my draft spreadsheet as I put together my team needs and things like that. I put down teams that signed top 100 free agents, right? And every team has at least one name in that line, except for one team.
San Francisco.
San Francisco is that one team. They've gotten rid of a ton of guys.
They lost so much.
And they gave up gave up all their top 100 so they can get under the cap or try and sign their quarterback. That's what they've done.
Yep. And they could go D tackle, they could go edge, they could go offensive tackle, running back, corner, wide receiver. It doesn't matter. They could go
very similar to the Cowboys.
Directions.
Very similar.
Very similar. Dallas only has one name on that list, by the way. All right. Moving from there. Anybody watch Jalen Smith, corner from USC? I know we've kind of briefly mentioned him a couple times.
I have not
watched him.
No, I don't. I have not watched the.
He's a
USC
Senior
corner.
Bowl cat. We'll come back to it. DCD074. These people that don't have names, we got to get names on these guys. All right.
Nothing wrong with putting your name on your Twitter handle.
I love the egg people are my favorite.
Yeah, that's best. Give me an underrated quarterback. This is from Mike. Give me an underrated quarterback that you've watched recently. I know you guys have gotten on quarterback.
We're talking QB.
Talking QB here.
Okay.
Anybody that sticks out to you other than Will Howard, Votch?
Other than Will Howard, then no, they all kind of
they're all kind of
underwhelming. Tyler Shuck may get drafted highly.
Okay.
But that don't mean I would take him as high as I think he'll get drafted.
Oh, look, we got video. We could scout this kid up from USC right now.
Oh, yeah. Tell me what you're seeing here.
Yeah,
this is Jalen Smith.
Beamer throwing him up.
Let's see, he's running around.
Yeah, he looks like he's getting in on a tackle there. But
right.
yeah, you know what? I'll tell you what. Somebody is going to draft Dylan Gabriel.
Yes.
Yeah.
We haven't had that conversation.
This guy is so accurate throwing the football. He's short. He's going to be under 6 foot tall. Watch the Miami Dolphins here. Watch a team that has a left-handed short quarterback for their starter. This guy, Dylan Gabriel, will be a really nice fit for a team like the Dolphins. You don't have to flip your offense over if something happens. You could still play left-handed. So watch Dylan Gabriel potentially ending up with the Miami Dolphins. But I think people are not talking about him near enough. They're talking about his lack of height.
Yep.
Yeah.
But you watch him throwing the football right here. It's just the quick release. Smooth. He could move around the pocket. If he could run out of trouble. But yeah, this plays right into what with Mike McDaniel and those guys down there in Miami play with. But we're not talking about him nearly enough. There's a reason why we're talking about Ferguson, the tight end there, James, the running back, and all these other guys, because Dylan Gabriel played pretty damn well for Oregon, who was #1 in the country for most of the year.
I'm glad you brought him up because measurables, they're not necessarily there.
No.
Right? That's not his strong suit. But I when I watched him, I thought he was one of the more technically sound quarterbacks in the draft.
He's a robot.
And he's done it in different systems, which I thought was really interesting.
He has.
UCF, Oklahoma, Oregon. That's pro-style air raid spread between the three of them.
Yeah.
And he's done it differently across the board. So when you look at what he's done and the IQ that he had and the success that he consistently had, whether it was in the American Conference with UCF, yes, they were still in the American. Oklahoma in the Big 12, yes, they were still in the Big 12. And then Oregon, whenever they jumped to the Big 10, he had success everywhere and ended up being one of the more decorated quarterbacks in NFL history. A lot of times when you see those records, guys like Case Keenum come to mind, right? Yeah. He spent it all at Houston. He was there the entire time in the same system all the way through. Dylan Gabriel became a leaderboard mainstay through 3 different programs. I think that holds weight for some people.
The last quarterback that came out of Oregon we all didn't like, and he ended up being a really good player for the Broncos.
He sure did. The other quarterback I'd throw out would be Curtis Rourke, the Indiana kid. Because he's got the size, and I do like his anticipation. He'll stand in there. He'll take a hit. Now, he's a true pocket passer. Yeah. This guy, if he's got to go off platform and work outside the structure, good luck, okay? But when it comes to like the back shoulder throws, he'll make some placement throws where I'm like, man, that dude can zing it, and he'll push the ball down the field. And I was pretty impressed. I mean, you go to a program in Indiana. Now, the head coach, Google me, right? That dude does win everywhere he goes. But what they did at a Indiana Hoosier team that is not used to winning a ton of football games really since Michael Penix Jr. left, Curtis Rourke, that could be a guy I'd take a flyer on day 3.
He had some injury background. I think he tore his ACL a couple times. So he's got some injury there, but I think you're right whenever it comes to the arm talent. Ashley wants to know best edge possibilities on day 3. So going into day 3, what are some of those edge guys? I know we talked about the early day 1, day 2 guys, but what about day 3? Is there any edge?
Well, you don't have a day 3 pick. I mean,
but the 4th rounder,
the fourth round. Yeah. So what you're thinking about is, you're probably going to, unless you get one. But I see what they're asking there. But
so 5th round on, who are some names?
I tell you what, man, once you in this land, like they're all the same kind of guys. So Joey Ivy, Tyler Barron, Tyler Batty from BYU.
Yeah,
Tyler Batty.
We watch him.
Johnny Walker Jr., Mizzou. I'll continue
Joyner
for him.
Joyner
I love him.
Minnesota.
Oben from Notre Dame. I mean, just kind of pick a guy that's down there. But that goes back to what we were saying earlier. If I want an edge, I kind of want to get them 4th round up. But these guys, they're going to be like run stopping dudes, 3-tech sometimes guys. But there's some solid dudes.
Well, and watch out for our Boise State edge, Ahmad Hassanin,
Yeah.
the Egyptian cowboy.
Yeah.
It's going to be cool.
That's his name?
That'll be his name. Yeah, that'll be his name.
That will be his name.
The Egyptian
Fire.
cowboy.
He'll be the first player drafted out of Egypt.
Boise State guy, and he hasn't played a lot of football. It doesn't look like it. That dude's got some raw talent and some instincts. He was also a Shrine Bowl guy we got to see. Yep. The size is there for him. He could end up making a team very, very happy. And then Elijah Roberts from SMU. Maybe some teams want to kick him inside and play defensive tackle. I like Elijah Roberts. He might go a little higher.
I got him in third.
I think he will too. Yeah. I mean, I was kind of thinking, do you have a Q Robinson? Vach, remind me of Q Robinson. You really liked Q Robinson out of Alabama, right?
Hey, man, pass rusher, standing linebacker type dude. Doesn't really have all the technique down, but he's bendy as all get out, bursty as hell, and that's kind of what his job is. He ain't really got it all together right now. Sometimes they'll line him up at linebacker because that's just what he was. But for the most part, he's a pass rushing edge dude, and he wasn't on the field too much.
Yeah, I kind of feel
Where did you have him?
I got him in the 5s.
That's where I've got him.
Yeah, he's kind of one of those guys when you look at him. I mean, he's played behind some really good players in his career. Dallas Turner, Will Anderson, Chris Braswell, and those guys. I mean, he was recruited as a safety, believe it or not, 6'4", 243. But, man, he's one of those guys that's got some bend. He's got some flexibility for his height as well. Metrics will tell you, too. And the reason why I was curious, Vach and I were doing this guy, his win rate at 24% pass rush reps was one of the better ones in the country. So Q Robinson, Alabama, maybe a day 3 guy, maybe a 4th round guy when this is all said and done.
Did you have him in the 4th?
I had him in the 4th.
Yeah. See, I've got him in the early parts of the 5th, but then I think there's a drop off from there because you mentioned some of those guys: Birch, Ivy, Barron, Kennard. I'm just all over the list here. From Robinson, he's kind of my last 5th round grade there, and then it drops to guys like Jones and Ingram Dawkins and Diggs from there for me. Yeah. I think Ingram Dawkins could possibly get drafted earlier because of the speed and the way that he ran at the combine. But there are a couple different things along the way from edge rusher. I just think there's a drop off and a separation.
I agree. There's got to be something about Johnny Walker Jr. that I don't know.
Well, we talked about him on Tuesday a little bit because I brought him up as under the radar
love that guy.
I think his tape is fun. It's a system fit.
He's gotten better every year. He's got natural bend. I love the first step quickness that he's got. That's a player to me that I think is going to translate and be really good in the NFL.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. All right. That does it for us here on Twitter on the 20. Got more than 2 questions in today. That worked out good, guys. Well done. Yeah. All right.
It's my fault for talking so much.
When we come back, since we're 2 weeks out, I want to get some predictions here.
I'm going to keep talking until they fire me.
If we had the draft
tonight. You're fired.
If we had the draft tonight, who would be the pick at 12? Who would end up being that pick in our guessing predictions when we come back with more of the Draft Show?
I'm Darren Woodson, former Dallas Cowboy player and Super Bowl champion. When I played in the NFL at a high level, I relied on my vision to see the field. As I started getting older, I noticed my vision wasn't as good, and I was getting frustrated from wearing my glasses all day. I went to Laser Care Eye Center, and Dr. G talked about all the options. Thanks to technology and Laser Care Eye Center, I can see near, far, and between. Don't fumble your vision any longer. Visit them at dfweyes.com and tell them Darren sent you. They got me back on my game.
Star Sports Tours is the only official fan travel partner of the Dallas Cowboys, offering exclusive game weekend travel packages with pre-game sideline access and photo ops with current players, cheerleaders, and Cowboy legends. You want to stay at a team hotel, attend the best tailgate party in Texas, tour the Star, and talk X's and O's with me, Everson Walls? With Star Sports Tours, you can. Visit cowboystravel.com to book your travel package today.
Life is a workout, and Smoothie King is here to help you power through. Whether you're maxing out overhead presses, pushing through chest flies, or being the hero your golden retriever needs to carry them over that scary bridge, Smoothie King has the fuel to help you go all out. Build muscle and boost your recovery with 45 grams of protein, 0 grams of added sugar, and delicious customizable ingredients in the Gladiator Smoothie. Available in chocolate, strawberry, and vanilla. Only at Smoothie King.
How about them Cowboys? Or how about them Tyson Cowboys Nuggets? As we cheer for the stars on the field, we love that we've also got some stars on our plate, thanks to Tyson brand star-shaped Cowboys Nuggets. That, along with all our other favorite Tyson Foods products, sure make game day special. Score some delicious Tyson Cowboys Nuggets and become a game day star. just like our Cowboys. As you enjoy your stars on and off the plate, remember, tailgates and game day have always been Tyson.
This is the DallasCowboys.com Draft Show.
Cowboys Nation, the Cowboys are heading back to Riders Field in Frisco, Texas for the 12th annual Reliant Home Run Derby on April 22nd. Come see your favorite Cowboys players swing for the fences to raise money for the Salvation Army, plus meet the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders and Rowdy. Admission is free. Gates open at 6 p.m. Seating is first come, first served. Visit DallasCowboys.com/ReliantHRD for more details. I went into the batting cages yesterday. I've got blisters all over my hands.
How'd it go?
Not great. I got a little work to do before I hit in the media derby. I'm
going back to that.
I've finished twice already. I need to win this year.
I'm too much of a coward. I'd look so goofy.
No, I think you'd look fine.
No,
You'd be all right.
no.
Good looking guy.
I'm with you, Zach.
Don't lie to me.
Zach,
You can't BS a BS.
But yeah, we're 2 weeks out from the draft.
Yeah.
If you had to guess today, gentlemen, who would the 12th pick be? Who do you think it would be based on your conversations, your studying? 2 weeks out, I mean, I'll ask you again. I'm certain before we get there, probably when we get to pick 10, and I'm like, who's still on your board? Who's your pick? But right now, as we sit 2 weeks out, who do you think 12 is going to be?
Common sense says Teteroa McMillan. Even better common sense says he shouldn't be there because he's so damn good. Golden would be a guy that makes. I'm sorry if I'm taking all the answers.
No, you're doing
Just
good.
took all the answers.
Golden is a guy that we should possibly take, but I think we should be ready for our corner from Michigan. We should just be ready.
Will Johnson?
Will Johnson.
So who out of those, if you're like one guy, one name, who is it?
McMillan.
Yeah, I think Ted McMillan, if I had to guess right now, like if I had to place somebody says, hey, it's do or die.
Yeah.
Ted McMillan would be the guy. And I do think he's got a good shot at getting there. I just don't think that if you're looking at the teams ahead, I don't know. I mean, maybe we have mentioned San Francisco. Carolina's interesting. I don't know what they're going to do necessarily at number 8, but I don't think they'd go wide receiver there. So I do think Ted's got a shot to make it to 12. I'd lean Teteroa McMillan.
I think that scenario that we brought up earlier with Jacksonville taking Genty at 5, I think that would hinder McMillan.
It would. I do think Jacksonville's pretty locked into
there.
Mason Graham.
You think so?
I do. I think they're going to take Mason Graham. Their GM's talked a lot about defensive line. Now, hey, maybe if Graham ends up going to New England or something, Travis Hunter goes 2 to Cleveland and Abdul Carter ends up going 3 to the Giants.
Yeah.
Maybe that changes some things. Things could go in a different order here, but I guess as today, I'm sticking with Ted.
Fellas, is there a small possibility that Dallas, not us, but Dallas likes Golden more?
I was going to pick Golden.
Yeah.
Is who I was.
I think there's a possibility.
That's who I was going to pick. Okay. I think they're going to take Golden
over McMillan.
I think,
or McMillan's not.
I think I think Vach laid it out for you. I think it's going to come down to either the corners or the wide receivers here, but my gut feeling is they're going to like the explosiveness of Golden is what they're going to like. And it's not that they're going to see a guy that as the season wore on in big games for Texas played huge. Yeah. And he looks like to me that he's just got so much to his game. You can move him in a lot of different spots. Yeah. But that speed is legit. He plays that fast. When you watch him on the outside and they play off coverage on him and he's closing cushion, you see panic in these DBs.
Yeah, he puts a lot of pressure on you.
And then he could pivot and drive. Look at that. He just running by people right there. And like I said, it looked like Louisiana Monroe there. But, to me, it's just that speed is legit. And I think they really do like all these receivers. But this guy has that ability to drive you off the football and come back. And he can make contested catches. He could separate. That's one of the things that we haven't seen really with McMillan is, but we always say McMillan's an 80-20 catcher, 80% to go to. He's going to get them. But this guy right here has got a different level of play speed. And I think that's what's going to maybe buoy him above McMillan.
Let me ask you this question.
And that's just me playing detective man here. Yeah.
Oh, okay. If you had to look at the Cowboys' current wide receiver room,
yeah,
what is the element of wide receiver? So like fundamental elements, right? that they're missing the most?
They will tell
Speed.
you. They will. Yeah.
Separation, speed.
Yeah.
Bigger, fast dudes. Like their fast guy is like Turpin right now.
Okay.
But Mingo, Brooks,
See, this is
Flournoy, they're kind of jump over you guys. They're physical guys.
And this is why Golden would probably.
Golden's a little different than them. Yeah.
I think that they like Mingo a lot more than we do.
Oh, they do.
And that's what I'm saying.
Definitely
I think they're looking at Mingo if they had to have a legitimate X.
That's a big-bodied player.
That's a big-body guy, and they're probably thinking with Dak throwing him the ball. Look at that right there, that double move on Georgia right there, and then coming back to the ball.
Yeah, he does a great job of
thanks,
fighting
Quinn
back.
Ewers.
Quinn Ewers be throwing anything, looking goofy out there, and Golden just catches it all. Sorry.
Starks was over there like, what the hell, what the hell, what the hell, one of those things. But no, I kind of feel like though to me that they're going to want to see what they have with Mingo, but this guy gives them a different element when it comes to separation and speed. That's why I don't know. It's not knowing anything. It's just I'm kind of looking at who they currently have.
How would he compare to McMillan? Just to ask the question.
This guy
in the red zone.
McMillan's so much better.
Saw it right there.
I just think McMillan's better.
He's so much better.
Other than just the 40-yard dash.
Well, yeah.
I'm taking McMillan over anything Golden's given me.
What'd you just say, Butch?
I say Mingo probably blocks better.
Yeah.
McMillan does everything else
Better.
better than Mingo.
Oh, absolutely.
As far
But
as
what about Golden and McMillan?
as far as Golden and McMillan, Golden definitely runs routes better. Like he changes tempos. He gains ground quicker than McMillan. McMillan gets faster down the field.
Yeah. He builds up speed.
He builds up speed.
He's a long strider.
T-Mac is the better red zone guy because I literally feel like you could throw it anywhere and he'll come down with it. It depends on how he gets off the line of scrimmage. I think Golden has more ways to get off the line of scrimmage. If you talk about which one of these guys are different than the guys we have in the room right now, Golden is much different than anybody that we have in this room right now. If you just think about fast guys in the room right now,
guys.
it's Turpin, and Turpin's a little bitty, so Turpin's going to have his own package or whatever, but just as a wide receiver 2 kind of guy, Golden's running past. He's beating everybody in the foot race. He's beating Lamb in the foot race and everything. So there's pros and cons to both. I would love to ask Dak, just away from everybody. And which one of these guys would you rather throw to? Because think about this.
He's thrown to contested receivers all his career, basically, hadn't he?
Think about this.
With the exception of Cooper.
Sure.
Cooper had the ability to separate.
That's what I'm saying. So when Dez was here and he was jumping over everybody, Dak wasn't the passer to properly use Dez.
Yeah.
When Dak turns to this passer now, Gallup turns into the jump over you guy. But Gallup ain't the same kind of jump over you guy that Dez or
Chad?
T-Mac is, right?
Yeah.
So now you going, all right, I got Dak that can place the football now. Let's get him like a super jump ball guy. I think he would love to have that. Or Dak is the passing dude, I'm on time, I'm accurate guy. Golden is the on-time accurate guy. I think it's a real conversation that they having over there. And both of them have been in the building.
Yeah, they have both been here. They're both reported 30 visits. I mean, the thing about what is Brian Schottenheimer thinking from an offensive standpoint? What do you want more? Do you want the X? Do you want the big receiver? Do you want the crossers over the middle? Because one way or the other, it's going to be different.
Well, if you want crossers over the middle,
guy, you've got
McMillan can do that.
Give me McMillan. I mean,
I think so too.
He excels at the in-breaking routes over the middle of the field.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what they wanted Cooks to do is their wide receiver 2.
Yeah.
And he's a smaller-bodied receiver that does not fit what he wanted. Now, granted,
still had success in the red zone here.
He did. And I think Ted is a guy that can do all of that for you. I just think he's a better wide receiver. Personally, and I get it. Like the 4.29 speed, the Golden ran, that's amazing, and he is a good player.
Yeah,
but I think we're acting like Ted McMillan. Not necessarily us.
No. I just
but
brought
people are
it
just
up.
pretending like he can't run.
I went opposite of what you guys think because I was thinking what they were trying to think.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I mean, McMillan. I've actually got Hunter as my number 1 receiver. Okay, I'm a Hunter.
Yeah.
I'm a wide receiver Hunter guy.
Yeah.
So that would be McMillan's second. I actually have Burden after him. I was trying to think of what they were looking at.
Yeah.
And they're probably
you could be right.
They're probably looking at we do not have a separator, and I think that they really want to see if this Mingo thing is going to work.
Yeah.
And they probably feel like, okay, do we need another big-bodied receiver? Absolutely. You'd love to have Ted McMillan. Sure. I'm also thinking that, like, okay, do we have speed other than, and Vach put it very well, other than Turpin, you really don't have anybody that can really, really run and can threaten defenses the way that Golden can. So I could see them. I know all of us would pick McMillan, absolutely. I could also see them saying, this guy fits, gives us something that we don't currently have.
Well, and I think it's a decision that they're trying to sift through themselves, because when you look at, even in past drafts, like going back to 2020, you look at guys that overlap as both formal visits at the combine and 30 visits here. It's rare to see that. A lot of times it's either or. You're either going to meet in the formal at the combine or you're going to come here. Both McMillan and Golden were formals at the combines and 30 visits. So what that tells me is that if we're getting there to 12, those are two names that we really do have to look at specifically, because if there's that double overlap, then it's two guys they're trying to decide between, and they're trying to find little things here and there that they feel like they may fit better.
You just hope this isn't the draft where you select Ruggs or Rieger.
Yeah.
When there's others on the board. You know what I'm saying? If you Philadelphia made a choice to take Rieger when Lamb and others were on the board, and they paid for that. They paid for it in a way they had to go and trade for another wide receiver and stuff. But you do not want to, if you're the Cowboys, you don't want to be in that draft where you draft the wrong guy.
Right before we wrap, though, I do think it's interesting that they've met with M'Bu and then Kelvin Banks Jr.
Yeah.
I wonder if offensive line could be sleeper there for them.
Yeah.
At 12, I think more likely Banks would be in that conversation than M'Bu.
Yeah.
Myself.
And remember, those guys were not formal visits at the combine. So think about going back to that overlapping. You got to look at those guys, Golden, McMillan, on those lists. All right. That does it for us here on the Draft Show. We're getting close.
We are.
Next time, we're going to be right underneath the 10-day mark. At that point, we're going to be 9 days away when we're back next Tuesday. For Zach Wolchuk, Brian Broaddus, Foch Lombardi, Chris Beam, and the Backham Kyle Yeomans, thanks for watching the Draft Show. We'll see you next week.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club. How about this,